Alright, what's going on, guys? UFC 252 just ended. Great night of fucking fights, man. Super entertaining from beginning to end. So let's just hop right into it. The first fight of the night was Dodson and Davlishvili. This pretty much went down like pretty much exactly how I thought. I think Dawson's best fights, best years are behind him at this point. Like, I still think he can fight and be competitive against lower guys, but at this point, someone like Davlishvili, who like just a fucking Energizer bunny, just did not stop moving, having a fun fucking time in there. It was fun to watch him, but he just kept such a pace on Dodson, and like did a great job putting him up against the fence, like taking him down multiple times, not actually holding Dodson down. Dodson did a great job of defending takedowns and also getting right back up from getting taken down, which I'm sure was frustrating for Davlishvili, but it didn't really stop him from trying, at least. And I think that that gave Dodson, a little hesitation. Like, he never really pulled the trigger on anything. He tried to a couple times, but it's just like in previous fights, he doesn't really aim when he throws. He kind of just throws and hopes something lands. He just throws fast and explosively, but there's like, there's no intent there. It's just hopes. And Davlishvili, not the best striker, but uses his striking well enough to to incorporate his grappling in there, and keeps like such a pace that it makes you have to respect him. So Davlishvili, great fucking fight. Can't wait to see what happens to him later on down the line, man. Like, I'm sure a lot of guys are on notice now. Like, I'm sure no one's gonna really want to fight this guy who is just non-stop energy. Like, but yeah. Anyway, next fight. Next fight was Daniel Pineda and Herbert Burns. That's right. So Herbert Burns, I gotta say, kind of let me down on this one. Like, I didn't really expect him to show up out of shape, and what was he, 4 or 5 pounds overweight? Just fucking, like, that's just unprofessional, man. At that point, like, as the opponent, cutting fucking weight sucks, but it's something that you guys both have to do. You know that your opponent is also doing it. Like, the fight doesn't just start in the cage. It starts when you sign that contract. So once you sign that contract, you're cutting weight, you're getting in shape, you're doing more work, you're trying harder than your opponent, or at least you should be. That should be your goal. So you have to suffer a little bit to get down to that lower weight, and to the fact that, like, you make weight. You did the suffering to make that fucking weight. You did what you had to do. You got in shape. You showed up in shape in your best self. Like, that's basically what making weight means, what it is. And then your opponent didn't respect you enough to train as hard, to try as hard, to eat right, and shows up out of shape. But that's kind of disrespectful, man. That's kind of a slap in the face. At least that's how I see it. That may be a little extreme, but, like, honestly, that is what it is. That's why you get 30% of their purse, because, like, it's like, dude, like, like, I'm sitting over here suffering, and you're over there just fine, and you think that you're just gonna get away with that. Like, whatever. Anyway, it still didn't even, like, in the fight, you can still tell, like, didn't perform to what we've seen Herbert Burns be able to do in the past. Like, Daniel Pena pretty much just fucking beat the brakes off him and put him in that crucifix and just smashed him. Like, Herbert Burns, he was clearly out of shape. He just didn't take the fight seriously. He probably just thought that since Pineda had been out of the UFC for a number of years, like, he was just he thought that he was getting handed an easy fight. Nope, not this. Like, Pineda saw this as his fucking chance, his second chance, and he did not waste it. And another guy, can't wait to see him fight again. Super impressed by him. So then JDS and Rosenstruck. So JDS looked phenomenal. Looked physically, at least, in great shape. But his age showed in this fight, man. Like, he did look slower. He's not as fast. He's just, you know, he looked physically, aesthetically in good shape, but like he's still dangerous. Don't get me wrong. Like did show that he you know was still dangerous to other heavyweights in that division. He still can fight competitively, but as I was saying, like he's probably not gonna make another title run. It's probably not. That's probably not in the cards for him anymore. He's probably gonna float around there, kind of like Arlovsky. You know, like have a couple of good fights. He's still got some good fights in him, I'm sure. I'm sure he can humble a lot of young up and coming guys in that division. But Rozenstruik just an overall better striker. I think Rozenstruik, after getting knocked out by Francis, is now at the point where he's trying to respect the other heavyweights and their power. So I did see it. He did seem a little, wasn't as super eager at this time as we might have seen him before. Didn't throw with super heavy. At least not initially, but once he had JDS in trouble, it was just like once he had him caught him against the fence, and you see JDS kind of just drop. It's like you kind of just know, like, oh well, yeah, it's over. But yeah, if as long as Rozenstruik can learn how to fucking wrestle a little bit, then he'll definitely be a threat to the title one day, maybe. But like, there's no way that he's gonna get a championship shot even if he can't fucking wrestle. Because someone up there like Curtis Blades is up there, and I guarantee Curtis Blades will not throw a fucking punch. He's just gonna go in and straight for the shot, man. Like and Rozenstruik is not gonna have an answer for it, because Curtis Blades is a much better wrestler than Overeem is, and Overeem dominated the entire fight right up until the last 4 seconds when he got knocked out. So, we'll see what happens with Rozenstruik, but yeah, learn how to wrestle, man, please. And in the main event, Stipe and DC, someone's gonna make a documentary about this fight, about these fights, about these two guys. Like, they have to, because what a way to end it. Like, to obviously it's not the fairy tale ending that DC wanted. I'm sure you guys have heard plenty of people say exactly that before, but yeah, like, obviously it sucked for DC. It sucked, like, to get poked in the eye like that. It's almost like it, like, I don't want to say karma or the universe, coming back to get him, because he didn't do it on purpose, Stipe, but he did do the similar thing to Stipe, poked him in the eye. Stipe had to get surgery after that, and now, like, Stipe kind of got him back. Again, not on purpose, definitely not on purpose, but it did. That's just what happened, and I don't necessarily see, like, the way the fight was playing out. I don't necessarily think DC would have, like, it would have affected the outcome of the fight. If he didn't get poked in the eye, I think Stipe probably was gonna win either way. The fight was close. It was competitive. Like, DC was still dangerous that entire time, even after getting poked in the eye. But Stipe had him in trouble a couple of times. He definitely has learned to respect DC's power. So he stayed patient. He stayed patient, and he knew that he had the cardio to turn it on when he needed to. He tried to go for the finish at the end of the second round a little bit, but DC kind of just held on and barely made it out of there. I didn't think that we were gonna. I thought the third round would have been it, but DC just fucking bit down that mouth. He just didn't want to go out that way, and like, good for him. And then even after getting poked in the fucking eye like that, like him complaining about not being able to see. Like, I'm not sure if that was immediate. Like, he got poked in the eye and he immediately couldn't see, and then, like, he didn't tell his corner, or he didn't want the doctor to know, because if he got poked in the eye and you can't see, and the doctor goes in there and you tell him you can't see, the fight's over. The fight is over. Like, they will absolutely not let you continue fighting if they know that you cannot see out of an eye. Which is the exact same reason why, if you get cut above your eye and it's bleeding, the blood, it looks like it's getting into your eye, they will stop the fight then also, because blood in your eye you can go blind. So if it affects your vision, they take that very seriously. So they will not allow you to fight after that. So DC keeping quiet. If he did like kind of go blind in the fight and then continuing to fight after that, and as well as he did, is yeah, that's crazy. That's awesome. That's amazing. Like one thing DC does really well that that I definitely noticed in before, but even in this fight, was that single collar tie. And I feel that it works so well for him, the single collar tie to the overhand right. It works so well for him because he's so short compared to the other guys, and especially compared to Stipe. Like, Stipe towers above DC, so when he goes for that single collar tie, DC he barely even has to keep his head down. His head is already at Stipe's fucking chest. Like, Stipe is already kind of like above here, so when he gets grabbed here, like, I'm sure at this point, since he got knocked out by it, he knows that right hand is coming. So he knows that if DC grabs him by the neck here, he knows to block this. And like we saw, DC try to go for it a couple times, and it didn't necessarily work this time. I think he did catch him with it once, and it probably just kind of like Stevie was just like, oh no, not again. But I could see why he continues to go for it and why it works well for him. And that was just a cool thing that I noticed that I wanted to mention. But great night of fights. Oh shit, I forgot to mention Sean O'Malley and Chito Vera. Holy shit. Can't believe I missed that one. So, you know, looking at Chito's past fights, it made me such a huge fan of Chito. Chito is a fucking great fighter, and if it wasn't for that loss in his previous fight, he would have been on a 6-fight winning streak, now 7-fight winning streak. And finishing guys prior to that to the Song fight, you just submission, TKO, submission, KO, like, you know, taking guys out. Like, he's definitely evolved on the job, and he's on his way up for sure to that contendership. And I wouldn't be surprised to see Chito fighting for the championship at some point, man. Like, he's a great guy. He's a great guy to watch fight. Like, absolutely. Super game. And like I was saying, great leg kicks. And it looked like Sean may have done it. I initially thought Sean did it to himself, that maybe he just stepped on it weird, but like, why would he have it just seems unlikely. Like, he does that in training, so he must be used to moving like that. Like, how often does he roll his ankle like that in training? Like, obviously it's a fight, so it's a little different, but it seemed unlikely to me that was an injury that he would do to himself on accident, as if he wasn't used to that kind of movement that he does all the time. So I definitely like watching the Weasels video about it. He brought up the kick to the peroneal nerve on the outside of the knee, which you can clearly see Chito landed that there, and I guess that just, you know, shut the power off on the leg there, and made it go a little bit numb. So when he went to step on it, he thought he was fine. Little did he know that his foot was still kind of like not responding as well, and he just rolled right on the fucking ankle. And you know, having those wraps around the feet, those ankle wraps, like that's not an injury that he has. Like, he's worn those before, and I'm sure like Muay Thai guys wear those all the time also. And I think that's just, you know, that's just something you do. Like, I'm pretty sure he wears them in the fight because he throws a lot of kicks. So throwing a lot of kicks, like, you run the risk of like either hitting an elbow, hyperextending your ankle. So that kind of helps prevent that. But he also bounces around and uses his footwork a lot, moves around a lot, is always on his toes. So like, you know, I would assume that was just like extra support that he wanted, not because he had an injury, not because he had hurt his foot previously in training. The one thing that I don't want to really say or think about is that, you know, hopefully that's not the case, is that like he is just like a brittle guy because he's hurt his foot before. He is a really tall, skinny guy in a weight class that I feel is too low for him. He probably should be at featherweight instead of bantamweight. But you know, you can't really tell the guy to do that. He did pack on a little bit of a muscle in that layoff that he had, so maybe it might be in his best interest to move up and weight. Like maybe his body just is just more. It just maybe just is more brittle at that weight than it would be at featherweight. So that's just an idea. Not saying anything negative about Sean, man. It just sucks that happened. That was it. I don't want to take anything away from Cheeto. Like I knew that he had great leg kicks. He has shown that before, and he showed that in this fight, and I think that's exactly what pretty much ended the fight there. Like Sean still was in the fight even after he hurt his foot. He still tried and took it to Cheeto, but once Cheeto started firing back, Sean couldn't stand with him because of his injury. So that it just sucks. You hate to see that. You hate to see a fight end that way. But I'm sure we'll see Sean again. I can't wait to see Cheeto again. I can't wait to see both those guys again. Hopefully we'll see them fight each other again, and we'll get the fight that should have happened. So we'll see what happens in the future. Catch you guys later.